What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis. Making you feel better, look better, sound better, making your tailgate better, your college football weekend better. And our Thursday night show, presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Download the app today. Bet the games. We're betting college football, Premier League, whatever it might be. Great promotionals setups when you first sign up. Also, daily Blazing Boost, odds boost to get increased odds on the games you want. Download the Firekeepers iCasino app today. Jason, how you doing, man?
What's up, buddy? Football is back.
Holy shit, we
Parlays
made
are
it.
back.
We made it.
We did. Now we just need to win some parlays. Am I right? By the way, your guys at The Athletic kindly hired a Michigan State person, huh? Justin Thin. How do you say his name? Thind?
I think it's thinned.
Thinned, right? So The Athletic heard our show and was like, we need to hire somebody. Couch and the Rube's calling us out.
I don't think it was us.
Oh.
But
Can we take credit?
no.
Okay.
But yeah, they've hired somebody, and
Jesus, I didn't mean to bring the show down. My bad.
no, I just no, it's yeah.
I mean, we were talking about the topic. I didn't know it's taboo now. My bad.
No,
I didn't mean
no.
to derail the show. This great Thursday Twitter question.
Yeah,
show.
we'll
My
start it
bad.
over. We'll fix it in post.
Jesus.
No. It's good for the Athletic that they recognize the significance of MSU, and like I said before, I thought it was a bad business decision not to replace Colton, and so then again, the Athletic is the competition, man, for us, for me, right?
Let's play a game. What did Jason bring up? 9/11 or the Athletic hiring a new Michigan State person? Shit, I can't tell. It's been a long day. Maybe I can't tell.
No. It's good. It's good for MSU fans to have more voices and it's good for the Athletic, I think, to honor. They spend a lot of time trying to get people to subscribe, and you should honor those subscriptions. So that is good. The little bit of news as well. Michigan State's football game will not be on ESPN Friday night for those not going to the Michigan State Western Michigan game. It'll be on ESPN 2. So most people have access to the Deuce.
Are you fucking kidding me with that?
Serena Williams match is taking precedent.
Oh boy.
And I it's the right move.
Yeah.
I mean, Serena, it's been
I gotta
pretty
say,
epic.
last night was pretty fun to
It was
watch.
great. It was so much fun.
She gets beaten straight sets though, and I'm like, okay.
I forget who tweeted it, but it was a really good point. That
Serena Williams is good at tennis.
no, just the idea that you forget, like, a great tennis match at night
Amazing.
is an event, right? It feels like an event.
Jimmy
Like,
Connors. That's all I think about
Yeah,
when I was like 11 years old.
I remember, like, because Todd Martin was a big deal around here in Lansing when I was like 12, early 90s. And his first few matches against, like, Sampras, when Sampras was number one at night, 5 setters, when the local guys taking Sampras to 5 sets, like, that was so big around here. And then some of the, just epic Agassi it's great. So
Glory days.
it's understandable.
Back when I was young.
Yeah. Trying to think what else. There was something else I wanted to get into. I'm totally forgotten. I should have written it down. We'll get into it as we get into the Groovy Donut Twitter questions in a little bit. But before we do, as we begin every Thursday night or end of week show, what we're betting, presented by the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook. Jason, what are you betting this weekend?
Well, we got to start with this.
Buenos tardes. It is time for the
Gives me a reason to play
Tigers
this.
Gambling Update with Gramanito Couch and Jason Nee.
What's up with our boy Harry? Is he on that big of a winning streak that he decided just to take the Tigers plus 1.5? I mean, he comes on the show, he tags us in it, retweets it, or does what Harry does.
Did he think we were going to support him in this?
Yeah, like, so now we're tagged into this Tigers plus 1.5, and they lost to the Mariners 7-0 today. I just want to make sure everybody knows that I was not supportive of this this bet Harry made. I know he and I text back and forth. I would have steered him clear of the Tigers right now.
Well clear for a lot of reasons. One, you can't even bet them on the under anymore because their closers have just crapped out.
Right.
So it's close. The Tigers are dead to us. I mean,
they're not going to score any runs, but the other team might score like 9.
Yeah, no.
But anyway, that's not what I'm going to bet on this weekend. I know that speaking of Harry, we talked about this. This is going to be my parlay. Oregon plus 17 and a hook, Arkansas minus 6.5, and Ohio State minus 17 for plus 556. I'm loving that parlay.
Okay.
I'm sprinkling because it's a gut feel. That's all I'm going on right now. Week 1.
I like where your head is. Week 1's our gut feels. Like for me, the big gut feel this week, to me is Arkansas over Cincinnati at 6.5, and so that is. And usually when that becomes like the bet you build your parlays around, that's the one that goes to hell. That usually you're like,
didn't you pick Cincinnati in our picks?
No,
and then
I
we changed your mind?
No, I picked Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
I was all on Arkansas.
All right.
I like Arkansas a fair bit. I'm on Oregon plus 17. I like that now. The more I think and read about it, and so I think that's the other half of it.
I'll set my parlay on fire.
Yeah.
Shit, we're agreeing.
No, and then of course it goes to the Premier League for the third leg. And eventually I think I'll get back to doing Premier League parlays, but right now I'm not feeling great about it. Nottingham Forest at home against Bournemouth. Love it. Minus 101 on the money line. I think Nottingham Forest just better, more talent at home. Bournemouth has been awful. Tack that one on. That is my can't miss parlay of the week. So you probably want to stay away from the games we just gave you. But that's where I'm at. And I still think there's value too in doing some of the longer odds Premier League games with Manchester City and they're only minus 297. Like throw them into stuff because they're not going to lose to Aston Villa. It's just not going to happen. All right, you ready to dig into these Groovy Donut Twitter questions?
Oh yeah. Sorry, Eric Schultz.
Wake you up.
Up first. How many flea flickers do we see this MSU football season? Will it be as effective now that Walker is gone and other teams might know it's coming?
Yeah, and probably not as effective in the sense that Kenneth Walker was somebody that I think opposing defenses feared, and so that made it was a great play to do, right? And it'll depend on the flea flicker, if well timed, is always an effective play because people don't expect it. But it'll depend on how effective the running game is. And give me the over-under flea flickers this year. What do you say? 3.5?
Ooh, I was going to go higher.
Higher? Okay.
Go like 5.5.
5.5? I would take under 5.5, but over 3.5. So
is 5.5 crazy then? Yeah, because that'd be like one every other game or something. Okay, yeah, 3.5's good.
Because I think it's still a play that's rare enough and cool enough that it feels like you're seeing it more often than you are when you do see it regularly. Like it's like, oh my gosh, they're doing this every week, but it's really only every other game.
Unless Jay Johnson loses his mind and just starts calling flea flickers. I guess.
Does it twice a series? That would be interesting.
Why not?
Yeah,
if it works. Next one from Eric Schultz. Do you expect MSU to be as stout against the run this season as they were a year ago? If the transfer at defensive end can play at all and they don't get decimated by injuries, I feel like they've got to at least be as good.
Yeah, I think that's the strength of their defense. So, like, to me, I thought at times last year they tackled really well in space when they were healthy. Like, they were actually pretty good at that. And I think the interior of the defensive line, I think they've got enough good linebackers that they're going to figure out a crew that really works there. I think that's and that's critical because if even as Michigan State gets better against the pass and better in the pass rush, that you've got to have something you can hang your hat on. If you're just decent against the pass and you're trying to hang, it can't be something where teams can just pick whatever they want to do and beat you. So I think they've got to be great against the run if their defense is going to be good.
Dominic up next. Are you aware Ebling always says, I refuse to call them commitments. I call them pledges. All due respect to Jack, but that cringe shtick is yours, Graham. Call him out in the spotlight hallway.
I did not know that. That's new. That's Jack stealing from me.
Wow. You think he listens to this show?
He must. I mean, there's no
he thinks this wouldn't get back to us.
Actually, I've done it enough on Twitter and elsewhere that maybe he'd seen it elsewhere. I don't know that Jack actually listens, but that
Let's meet up in the hallway, bro.
yeah, that's bullshit. Actually, my whole point was to get everybody to call him pledges, so I can't be upset.
I think you should be,
driving the movement.
as long as he acknowledges that you went first. Dominic, with this one, Graham, you hear the Saved by the Bell re-imaging was canceled. Fuck. Glad we got like 9 seasons of Jag though.
I didn't know the reboot of Saved by the Bell was canceled. I'm not happy about this. I liked it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was well done. I thought they made fun of themselves. It was clearly written to an audience that had seen it the first time around and now was older, so they got the references, but they wanted a more adult, funny show, and that sucks because I thought it was well done.
Reimagining.
Reimagining, I think it is.
It's hot in here.
Yeah, but and to be fair, they got screwed by COVID. Like their final episode of their first season ends with an awkward line that was clearly written in because it had just hit. It's like March 2020, and
well, Screech got screwed by COVID technically.
Well, yeah, but
Rest in peace.
Good point. But the guy who plays Zach Morris's son looks at his phone and says, "What's coronavirus?" And that's the final line of season 1. And season 2 comes back like 2 years later. Like that's tough.
Sometimes things are just good left alone.
Yeah.
You know. Next one from Dominic. Is there a local spot you can recommend where I can get some good food but also enjoy multiple football games on TV?
Dominic, we appreciate you. There is. Front 43 and Cask and Company is that place for you. And I think you guys all know that just north of Frandor on East Saginaw and Lansing, very close to the East Lansing border. So if like you want to enjoy the tailgating experience and then go watch the game and go watch the games Friday night or Saturday somewhere else, Cask and Company in Front 43 is very convenient.
What an alley-oop by Dominic.
Thank you, Dominic.
Maybe next. Did Scott Hazelton actually say shoot as implied in the column? How often do obscenities get edited out in articles?
So I asked Ryan about this, and he said shit. And it's a good question because our policies seem to change from time to time, what I can get away with, what I can't. Basically, what I understand, I think I said shit or used shit in a quote recently, and my boss was cool that it has to be in a quote. Like I'm not allowed to just say shit. But I'm not. There are certain words, and it's changing a little bit, and it depends on the level of impact. Like if like the only way I could ever use the F word in a story is if it really, really was like this drove home the impact of what was happening in a moment. It couldn't just be a football coach saying "fuck that." Like
we're dropping MFers now.
Steve up next. Caught Coach Tucker on SD4L podcast last night referencing a local journalist stating he was boring last year. Is this you? And is he less boring this year?
It was me. And it was all reference to a tweet that I sent out after he was real emphatic and riled up in the locker room and interesting and showing his personality, which he has a great personality, by the way. And there had been 4 or 5 weeks with us where he'd just been sort of Nick Saban-esque and monotone and not giving us much. And I basically quote tweeted and said, more of this, less of that. So
you fired up Tuck.
Yeah, he called me. He was not happy at the time. He misread the tweet a little bit too because he thought I was basically saying he wasn't being genuine with his players. Like you read it backwards. But nonetheless.
Did he drop a MF?
He did not.
Oh.
No, and we're good. But it worked. What I'm saying is it worked. Like he still brings this up. He brought this up on a show last night. He brings it up half the time I see him. Was that interesting enough for you, Graham? Like, you know what I mean? So like, and he's been more interesting. So like, my tact wasn't great. And I told him, look, I'll just tell you flat out, my promise to him is not to just call him out on Twitter, just to talk to him personally from now on. But it was effective, even if my tact was a little. Graham's had a couple glasses of whiskey.
You're going to be scared of what to say now.
No, am I ever scared of what to say on Twitter?
No, I'm just asking. I'm not accusing you. I'm just wondering now. Does that mean that you're going to be like,
no,
tippy-toeing now?
No, you can't tippy-toe.
All right,
this is
just asking.
Man,
this is for the listeners, man. I'm just asking.
Tucker's got a 9-year contract. This is my lifetime town, man. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. This is my
forever home.
Forever home.
Jesus.
No, I don't know. I didn't mean that. That sounds really ridiculous. No, I would never tiptoe around somebody like that. What my point was, I would not call him out on Twitter the way I did. I would just call him, which is the more professional and mature thing to do.
Not as fun, though.
Not as fun.
Jay Riemenschneider next. When MSU fans or pods talk about a football season success or failure, the Michigan game is always included, and predicting a loss to Michigan by some of them is like hearsay.
It's heresy. but
Heresy.
Close.
Jesus. I've never heard that word. Heresy. Does MSU look at themselves? Hearsay is not a bad guess. I'm sorry. I've had a long day. Does MSU look at themselves as the better program, thus should never lose to Michigan?
Yeah, I don't.
Heresy.
It is one of those weird things. Like when you go to do predictions and you're like, well, the Michigan games. Like to me, what you have to do is just do what's logical most of the time. Now that said, I've overcompensated the other way. I think I have not picked Michigan State to beat Michigan in football since, and I could be wrong on this, but probably 2015.
Keep doing it.
And I've been wrong quite a bit since. So in basketball, I picked them quite a bit. But so, yeah, it's just because a lot of times when you look at the situation going into that game, like 2 years ago, they were a 25-point underdog. There was nothing to suggest that Michigan State was going to beat Michigan given the week before. Last year, I predicted it to be pretty close, but I think I picked Michigan. So, yeah, and the thing is, by the time they play, maybe it'll make sense to pick Michigan State. Certainly, being at the Big House is no longer, to me, an impediment to pick Michigan State because they've won so often there. Do I think that other people are? Do people look at themselves like they're the better program, should never lose to Michigan? No, I don't think that. I don't think people in the Michigan State world think they should never lose to Michigan. They prefer they never do, but I don't think they think that way.
Next one from Jay. What would have to happen this fall for MSU fans to start to waver on their support for Mel Tucker? Recruiting ranking in the 30s, a 7-5 season. Team looks unfocused and mistake-ridden. All of that or something altogether different.
Yeah, I think it's mostly that third one. Like what made last year beyond the record. So the record and the way they won was what was intoxicating. What was, I think, heartening for MSU fans was how competent they looked. I mean, I thought the
secondary.
Well, not always, but even then, like I give them a lot of credit early for playing egoless football in the secondary. What I mean by that is
just getting burned.
No, what I mean by that is it takes a little bit to know you're going to give up some chunks to play off people because you're going to get beat.
Shit.
No, listen to me.
This is grade A choice Graham Couch spin.
Bull fucking shit. We have talked about this before.
All right.
There was like at the Miami game is a great example of this.
Showed heart.
The way they had to win was not to get beat deep and to be opportunistic and to keep people in front of them. And I thought that actually worked for that defense given their personnel was the best. I mean, it got them to 8-0, frankly. So, but to the point here, I think you kind of know it when you see it. They could have some bad luck this year. They could have some games that don't go well. They could have some mistakes that are natural mistakes. An interception here, there, whatever, lose to another good team on the road. But if the team looks like they bounce back well, they stay focused, resilient, and there looks like there's a lot of competence on the field, that I think what matters. And then the recruiting rankings will be important. Like if all these guys were to jump ship, sure, but I think that's the big thing.
Next one from Jay. Since we all know Ohio State is MSU's target, lofty and unattainable as that may be, if MSU beat Ohio State and then finish 6-6, is that okay?
I'll ask you that. If MSU beats Ohio State and winds up now, if they beat Ohio State and they're unbeaten going into the Ohio State game, and then from that point they go 0-6, that's weird. To me, the only way this would work is if they lost to like Washington and Minnesota in sort of snake-bitten ways, beat Ohio State, and then, I don't know, it's not
injuries.
Okay. Yeah, injuries.
Yeah, no, that Ohio State wouldn't mean that much to me if it was 6-6, I guess.
Right. Because
Michigan changes things, sure. Ohio State?
Well, Ohio State would too. The problem is to go 6-6 goes back to that unfocused and mistake-ridden, right? You can't be 6-6 with a win over Ohio State. Because that means
if Peyton Thorne gets hurt, then you could be 6-6 maybe.
So let's take a couple really bad injuries in terms of like who they are.
Then I would take the Ohio State win
and the 6-6.
Yeah,
yeah, and
that's an answer, I guess. I don't know.
No, that because basically, right? If they lost Peyton Thorne late in the Ohio State game, but won that game,
yeah,
and then went like 1-5 the rest of the way in the Big Ten without him, I think people would still feel like things were going in the right direction.
Last one from Jay. Who should I bet? Fiorentina or Juventus?
Juventus.
Celtics Football Club or Rangers Football Club? Just kidding. Couldn't care less. Don't gamble and soccer sucks.
Thank you, Jay.
Jesus, what a bummer. Nick Palmer. Who has a Kenneth Walker-like breakout moment tomorrow?
So the thing that made Kenneth Walker's moment last year against Northwestern so amazing is that nobody really, Michigan State people hadn't seen him play at Wake Forest much. They saw him in the bowl game, but nobody really knew who he was. Nobody knew that was coming. And so it has to be somebody that catches you completely by surprise. It can't be Jaden Reed. I don't even think it can be Peyton Thorne. I think it has to be like a Keon Coleman type, right? It has to be somebody, or it has to be a Jalen Berger or one of the running. It has to be somebody who there's sort of anticipation about their year, but we haven't seen it.
I think it's Jaden Reed.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that happen, though? How can it? It wouldn't feel the same, though.
All right.
But I see what you're saying. You could still have
I just see like a big 70-yard touchdown play right off the bat or something.
Okay.
Like that.
Yeah. Well, that's very possible.
Nick Palmer. Will Couch in the Rube merchandise be available again soon? I moved back to Michigan and want to rep my favorite pod.
We appreciate you, Nick. We're going to do something certainly before the holidays, and we got to figure that out. We're going to do it differently than last year, so we got to figure out what the best avenue is for us to do that. But yes, I
don't know if there is one, to be honest, but
yeah,
we'd like to get them out to you somehow.
We'd like to do them.
Therese, get on it.
Yeah. Thanks, Therese.
Jeffrey Daly. I've withheld the house payment for this month. I want to know the upset pick this weekend, college football, that will at least double the money.
So if you're looking like the game that I'm on the spread for, but if you were looking for a game that could get interesting, I think that Oregon game on the money line would be one if you were looking to take a long shot, right?
Ooh.
Because that's plus 585.
I got plus 60 here on the money line.
Plus 600, you mean?
Plus 650.
650. Wow.
Yeah.
On
MGM.
All right, we'll fire up the Firekeepers and see what we got here. Firekeepers has plus 652.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for saying another.
What are you talking about? I'm just saying I had it up on my computer screen. It had nothing to do with that. 650 across the board.
Right. And anyway, but yes, that would be one that, like, what you need to get a big underdog if you're looking to pay a mortgage payment is you need something that's feasible to happen and also gives you great value. And so I would think Oregon at plus 585 or plus 650 would be that one.
Yeah, but he wants to double his money. You can get something like plus 185 or something you feel a little bit more confident in. Right? Oregon's a 17-point dog. I don't know if I drop $1,000 like a mortgage payment on it. But
so like an Arizona money line plus 190 at San Diego State, that sort of thing is out there.
You have to watch that game.
You do. Yeah. You do. Yeah. I think Oregon is the long shot, the big play. That I would play.
I like it, Professor. If MSU goes turf, will they bring back the Chariot? I hope so.
I guess that would be available to them. I know a lot of people aren't. It's interesting. The turf discussion is, I've gotten more emails about this than I realized. The two things that I've gotten emails about since I wrote the column on the conversation with Alan Haller are the turf, whether they'll go to turf at Spartan Stadium, and the fact that swimming and diving wasn't brought up there, which is not really his fault. It's kind of my fault. I dropped the ball on that, by the way. I just didn't bring it up. Swimming has been very off my radar, and I apologize to people who care a lot about it. Should have brought it up. One of my editors was not happy I didn't bring it up. But also, Haller this isn't like getting a hold of the President of the United States and you get one-shot interview with him. Like, he's a really accessible guy. If we want to do the story on where the swim team situation is with them, we can probably just get a hold of him and ask.
Call him right now.
Just put him on the spot here.
Yeah.
But
send me his number.
To the turf thing, and there are a lot of people who are really unhappy about it. But I also understand from the perspective of revenue and using that stadium for more, it's just hard to do with grass. It's very hard. They limit what the football team's even allowed on that turf as the season gets closer because you want the grass to hold up for a whole season. You can't do concerts. You can't do band things. You can't have high school teams play there like they do at the Big House. There are lots of things you can do if you have turf, and turf has come so far in the 20 years since they they ripped it up and put grass in. That I don't know. I understand. Like, I love the way grass looks when you come into a stadium. You know, old Tiger Stadium, coming up the ramp, you see the grass so green it hurts. Like, that's the best. So I get that. I hate artificial turf in MLS. I hate it with soccer, but
so green it hurts.
Yeah, it's like so beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. That's what farmers say about corn. You know, I think.
Ken Chu up next. How much experience does Jeff Thorne have as an offensive play caller? In his previous role as a head coach, did he call plays?
Yeah, and he's been an offensive coordinator there for his dad, who is the coach when he was at North Central. So, yeah, he's got a lot of experience in that realm. That part of it's going to be interesting, too, because, you know, he's got a fairly inexperienced quarterback. You know, I think if it would have been interesting to watch him come into last year's Western Michigan team with a little more oomph at receiver and a veteran quarterback. But, yeah, no, he's definitely called a lot of plays.
Ron Quixote next. Let's get some final preseason predictions. How many MSU players are drafted in the 2023 draft? Over under 3.5. Who leads the team in tackles? And how many ranked teams does MSU beat this year? Pre-bowl game, over under 1.5.
So who's going to be ranked? Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Wisconsin, probably.
Iowa.
They don't play Iowa.
They don't play Iowa. Okay.
Minnesota, probably not by the time they play them. And they're a team that could go either way. Over under 1.5 is a really good ask. I would probably take the under, actually, looking at what I did on my preseason, just because of who's actually going to be ranked, at least when they play them. You know, I had in my preseason picks them losing to Wisconsin, Ohio State, and Michigan. And if they lose to those two, if they beat Penn State, that's probably the only other ranked team, right? Am I missing somebody that they face?
How much plus money am I getting on the over, though?
Well, the juice always
I'll take the over.
So on the draft picks, that's a good question. I mean, I think Jaden Reed is going to be picked. You know, I'll be curious to see defensively. Over 3.5. A couple guys late. Give me the over. I think they get to. You know, some of it will depend on a guy like Malik Carr. Is he healthy? Does he have a big year? Does he have a year where this is it and he goes to the NFL? Like, so there's some underclassmen that'll have decisions to make. But give me the over just slightly. And leads the team in tackles. Probably it's often like a safety, not just a linebacker. So let's go with Xavier Henderson.
Gavin Haas next. Final score prediction for MSU Western.
34-13. And the spread, by the way, has moved on to 21, so right around on the spread. I think the spread is pretty spot on. Again, I think there's good opportunity with teasers. But
you said 38-13?
34-13.
34, okay.
Yeah.
I said 38-17.
Yeah, right in that realm. Yep.
Gavin Haas, final season prediction for the Big Ten East finishing order.
Well, so this is going to get outdated real quick because Penn State plays as we're doing this on Thursday night, so that could impact it if they lose to Purdue, and I do have a little bit of money on Purdue. Just because I couldn't help myself, like the opening night of college football.
A little bit of action.
This is why it's kind of like donuts, you know.
I like donuts and gambling on a Thursday.
This is why I'm an action bettor and not somebody who makes a living on it, because I'm like, oh, I'm not even, of course I'm going to put a little money on this. Give me Ohio State. I don't trust Penn State. Give me Michigan State, Penn State, Maryland, Rutgers, Indiana. That's very cliche, but I go with that.
Gavin next with this one. Most exciting game of week 1.
I think we're hoping it's that Oregon game.
Oregon, Arkansas. I mean, whatever I have money on.
Yeah.
It's always the most exciting to me.
I want Notre Dame, Ohio State to be a good game. I don't know that it will be. I would love to see Notre Dame put up a fight.
I want Ohio State to hammer them.
Why is that? Why is that the way you feel?
I don't feel. No, it's just for my gambling.
Oh, I got you.
Habit.
Gotcha,
I just want them to hammer them. Jarrett up next. Have you figured out reading in between the lines yet for Tucker when he talks about the team?
I'm getting better. I'm not entirely there yet, though. He's pretty good at. You can tell he comes from the school of Nick Saban. Like, you can see the Saban cadence in him sometimes, and when he's trying to be careful, he's very good at it. And like even with the kickers, he starts talking about the walk-on and how much he's improved and their improved relationship, and all of a sudden you're guessing like, well, wait a sec, what's that mean? So no, I don't have a great feel. It's why I'm always grateful when Xavier Henderson comes after him at the podium, because Henderson just tells you bluntly.
So Tucker does the spin zone. You should play that music for him.
Yeah.
Well, have Doug cut an intro for Tuck.
And I don't blame him when it's coming into game weeks and stuff. Like, I mean, I totally get it too. You're trying not to reveal. He's being asked pointed questions about the depth chart, and he's trying not to reveal those before those decisions, A, have been made maybe, or at least B, have been communicated with his players. I mean, I understand it from that perspective.
Jarrett up next. And will Groovy Donuts ever collaborate with Melting Moments for ice cream sandwiches?
It would be a glorious day
of his. Sorry, Jarrett.
We'll get back to it in a second. But it would be glorious if they did. And by the way, if you have a tailgate this weekend or any weekend, Groovy Donuts is happy to be part of that tailgate, and it will improve your tailgate greatly. They've got all sorts of tailgate donuts, football fields, footballs. You can have your team on there. They'll specialize, but all sorts of cool stuff. Go to groovydonuts.com to place your order today, or just swing by either location. There's one in East Lansing on Lake Lansing Road, and also in Williamston. So depending on where you're coming from into campus, or if you're just at home watching the games this weekend, like Saturday,
donuts.
Man, I might have a box next to me.
Ice
for
cream
sure.
and donuts.
Yeah.
More ice cream.
Sounds great.
Jared, this is the one I skipped. The single player you're most excited to see play on Friday.
Who's that for you?
Like I said, Jaden Reed is the guy. I want to see what he does. I think he's going to be the big game receiver guy this year. So
yeah, to me, it's the unknowns always. It's the I want to see the two running backs who are transfers. I want to see. Is it the Keon Coleman hype? Yeah, no, frankly, it's an interesting team, and we've done a lot of Pete Rose Hall of Fame talk, so we're ready.
Mr. Benjen, football is back. What would be the best thing to see tomorrow to show a good MSU season is ahead?
The offensive line just
push.
Mauls. Yeah, right there.
No, but you're right though. But we've been saying it like.
Well, and I don't think you can prove it. Like, I think one of the problems is against Western Michigan, the offensive line can win up front, and that doesn't mean they're going to be able to win up front against Minnesota or Washington or Wisconsin. But if they don't win up front, that's a problem. So you want them to win up front just so they don't not win up front, if that makes any sense. And I think that's because if they can't, like, I forget what year it was when the Michigan State beat Bowling Green in the opener. It was a Saturday. It was one of the first times they didn't play a Friday night game in a while, but they couldn't move the pile. And it was like, oh, okay, that's going to be an issue. I think it was 2017, and it was like that's an issue. And they had a good year there, and they protected well and everything, but that was an issue all year, and you could tell right away if they can't push around Bowling Green, they're not going to push around most of the Big Ten.
The bottom line is I could see that game going one way or the other.
Mr. Benjen, I'm so excited for 3 quick takes tomorrow. What will be your first post-game take? It's tough to say right now, right?
It's very difficult to say. Yeah, but
Tuck is coming.
No, but you can assure there will be something on probably Thorne and Reed in the offense and how it looks and how.
And they went to high school together?
I will not mention that. I did. In fact, I did not even. I don't think I mentioned.
Do you think the TV broadcast will mention it tomorrow night?
Oh yeah.
Are we done? Are we past it?
No.
Okay.
Well, it takes TV people a long time to get sick of stuff.
They think people forgot from last year.
Sometimes they swoop in and they find a storyline and they don't realize that it's already been hammered. They don't really double check on the.
Wait. Did you guys go to middle school together too? Mr. Benjen, will Spartan Stadium fill up? Is there an attendance issue this year?
I think tomorrow will be pretty packed. There are some tickets that are available fairly inexpensively. So it's not like it's a hard ticket to get, but I think it'll be packed tomorrow night. I think it's a pretty good schedule. It's not a great schedule, but Ohio State, anytime you get them at home, that's a Wisconsin, Ohio State. It's a good October. You get a Big Ten game early with Minnesota. I mean, there will be an attendance issue if the team starts to lose, and it'll be interesting to see what the students do. Like that. Mel Tucker called them out last year, and the onus is on them to be there, and they're trying to do some things to make it a better experience for them. And really, I mean, they've done a lot of stuff in terms of the food options and other things, and I don't think it was. I don't think it's been a big issue most years. There are just some times where things empty out a little early.
Plus size softball dad up next. How many rushing yards will MSU need to have to feel comfortable about the O-line this season?
So I don't know that there's a specific number of rushing yards because you can have, like, Kenneth Walker's 75-yard run was a really good block around the edge, and then it was about 70 yards at Kenneth Walker. And so you can get a run like that. But, yeah, I think you want MSU north of what would you say, 175 on the ground tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Something that
would work.
Range. Yeah, at least.
Plus size softball dad. What is an acceptable amount of passing yards for the team to give up on a Friday and not feel awful about the season?
Under 250.
I would start with under 300.
It's a young quarterback. Unless the quarterback just looks like holy crap. But yeah, I would say under 250.
Plus size. Why doesn't Gus Johnson receive professional criticism for being such a huge Michigan homer?
From his colleagues, you mean? Yeah, because I mean everybody's got their thing, and everybody's a hypocrite. And nobody wants to step out on the guy who's, I mean, and is Gus Johnson that bad all the time? Yeah, he probably is. I just don't hear it because I don't hear him do other games. I've heard some serious complaints, and I've heard some moments that were pretty rough.
Yeah. I mean, I've witnessed it where he's actually, called Michigan State. I feel like he's called it differently than other games sometimes. I don't know. It doesn't bother me because I don't care who does the games. Mike Scott up next. If MSU football 2022 were a 2022 Premier League team, which team would they be?
Ooh, that's a good question. So it's the team you're hoping they are is some team sort of like Arsenal that's really on the come up. That's that's what you want. People might say Tottenham, but Tottenham's kind of slow and old with the one-trick pony out front. MSU was more Tottenham last year when they had Kenneth Walker. So give me Arsenal is what you're hoping for.
Mike Scott with this one. If Graham could be mayor of any city in the world, would he choose Lansing, Marquette, Kalamazoo, or Torquay, England?
Yeah.
Is this your burner account?
No, thank you, Mike. Though appreciate it. Yeah, I would go Lansing. It's my hometown, and it's the place that I would love to live in Marquette, and I would love to live in Torquay.
Run for mayor.
Yeah,
yeah.
Maybe I will.
You can spin shit. That's all you need to do.
You only got to get. The thing is about the election too. The way it works here. The August primary to get in the last two, there are like 1,200 people vote in the city in that August mayor off-year primary. You just got to get like 700 people to vote for it.
That would be the greatest moment of my life if I ran for mayor.
Yeah?
That'd be like just constant entertainment. I mean, you'd have to go do like speeches and stuff.
Well,
follow you around.
There's
like
not a lot of that.
Dead.
It's more walking, knocking on doors and getting to know people.
Hitting the pavement.
I've always said this. I grew up on the west side of Lansing and live over there now. The current mayor lives over by the governor. I would not lose to somebody who lived over on Moores River Drive.
What's your feeling on gerrymandering, Graham? Mike Scott with this one. I have to get this off my chest, but why do you both find Chad Latt so funny? I think I speak for at least 30% of your listeners in saying he is not funny. He's a Spartan fan who can't sing worth a shit. That's exactly who I am, and when I sing, it's not funny either.
Mike, we would love your videos.
Yeah,
if you want to
send
sing.
yours in. Can you beat this?
Show it, show it, show it, show it. I'm sexy and I know it.
Come on. Come on.
Come on. Come on. I'm sexy and I know it. Come on. Get up. Get into it, guys.
Here's the best part, Graham.
Check it out. It's my favorite part. Wiggle, 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 yeah. Wiggle, 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 yeah.
See, but here's where I agree with Mike. Like, that one is funny to me. A lot of them, it's like, it's just Jet. And I miss Hoff. But
we play Hoff. We still play Hoff.
We still play some Hoff, yeah. But that one is funny. Like, I laugh every time. But
Chad's cousin listens to the show.
We also appreciate you, Mike. And
send in a video. Let us be the judge.
Yeah. You might be a better singer than you think, and it may be funnier than you think.
Eric Larson. Can you earn sweat equity in golf or bowling?
Sure. Sweat equity is just experience, right? I mean, it's
is
just
that practice or?
Yeah, well, sweat equity is like going through it. Like you lose a tough match, you're a young player and you get your teeth kicked in, and you come back the next year and you that's sweat equity, and is absolutely you can do that in golf and bowling.
When I hit 4 in the water and drive the cart into the water. Andrew Gauthier. We're taking our niece and nephew, who's 10 and 11, to the Akron game. Any suggestions on concessions and how to best time bathroom breaks and food runs?
Yes. First of all, great suggestion, Andrew, of games, because that is going to be the biggest blowout of the season, I think. And so it's going to be the crowds. There's going to be a little more room to move, I think, for the Akron game than any other game.
Zips fans don't travel.
They don't even travel to their own home games that often. So I don't know how much they'll make it to East Lansing. Yeah. The other thing is, well, I mean, and I think there's going to be a lot of good food options and other things. But here's my pro tip from times at Spartan Stadium and really any stadium I've been to.
What a wind-up.
I always get up like a minute before halftime. If you just do that, you don't need much more than that, 30 seconds, a minute, and start to head out and get to the bathrooms. You can be done in the bathroom by the time that the crowds come for halftime. And then you're just fighting one crowd for your melting moment sandwich or whatever that is, and you're back up. So that's the key. It's not, don't fight the crowd for both the melting moment sandwich or the concessions and the bathroom. Get one of those things in, preferably the bathroom, before the crowds come. Leave a minute before halftime.
Would you ever wear a diaper to a game or a concert?
No. Would you?
I would try. I don't know if I could go in a diaper and then just sit in it. I don't know. Definitely not number 2. That's for sure. There's no way in hell I could do that.
Unless
I had to go.
So you've never done that before though?
Worn a diaper? I mean, yeah, when I was younger.
I mean, I'm talking about like as an adult, like to a concert or a game or something.
No, I never thought about it. I never put that together because I've always been able to either hold it or just pee behind the stage or something. I don't know.
Pee behind the stage?
I don't know.
Whatever that is. Yeah.
Andrew, Gauthier with this one. Thoughts on live players whining about not getting world ranking points? This is not arbitrary. There are criteria for a league and a tour to earn these points that their league hasn't reached yet. It's that simple. You don't get points for 54-hole no-cut exhibitions.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that it's frustrating to them, but right. I mean, you didn't.
Well, that's what happens when you pick live, though.
Right. If
they knew that going in.
If Jason and I said we're going to host a tournament at Groesbeck, it wouldn't automatically get world ranking points. You have to. Yeah, that does not.
The Saudis own Groesbeck?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
that would be something. That would be a story that we've been sitting on if they did.
Next one from Andrew. Thoughts on Gary Player taking a big steaming dump on the Live Tour? Didn't expect that kind of heat coming from him.
I loved it. I loved it for this reason. Right now, it feels like the Live players are so scared of the Saudis and so scared of any hint of criticism or of anything that's not perfect with their new tour.
Yeah, because they behead people that do that
They're
stuff.
not going to behead famous golfers, though.
You never know. Gary Player, watch out.
Yeah, so I appreciate the guts to say something.
Is it gutsy, though?
It's at least.
I mean, he's like 90. I mean, I would say that shit, too. What's going to happen? Going to take you out at 90? Andrew, how can you tell when someone you know just lost a bet? For me, it was pretty obvious when I got a text from Graham proclaiming that Chelsea was dead to him and should be in League Two.
That's a good way. My texts give away for sure. A donation to the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook is all it was, and I like to support them.
You think he's that passionate about Chelsea or something? Yeah, of course it's gambling.
Yeah. No, Andrew knows when I've lost a bet, and it's usually Chelsea related because he used to be. I don't know if he's really a Chelsea fan, but he watches them a lot. And Chelsea has just fucked me more often than not, so I blame it on. I take it out on him.
We're dropping MFers now?
Chris Eastlick next. If Aaron Judge passes Maris, would he be the home run king in your mind, or would it still be Bonds to you? And for the Rube, Aaron Judge is good at baseball. # Magic Johnson. Who's good at basketball?
So if Aaron Judge passes Maris, would he be the home run king in your mind?
No.
Or this would be Bonds.
No, I love the steroid era. I wish they'd bring steroids back. Bonds was a monster without. He was going to be a monster without it. It was just more fun watching him hit 700-foot bombs.
And there is something to the idea that you've. It's the American League record. It's the record a lot of people will judge, and I think it'll be.
But I don't care if people do say that. If Aaron Judge and Maris is their home run king still or whatever, it doesn't bother me, right? I mean,
right? No, I think it's to each their own.
Yeah.
But to a lot of people, he will be the home run king.
Chris Eastlick. If you were in Cade McNamara's shoes, would you have transferred You led the program to their first title in almost 20 years, and the job still isn't yours.
Boy, I mean,
I think he knows what he signed up for, though.
I think he thinks he can win the job too. I can't imagine transferring if I were to know. Now,
transfer where?
Yeah, and these guys are
kinda fits in
competitors.
Michigan.
He thinks he can win the job. I think that's what it comes down to. If Michigan knew the job wasn't going to be his all along and didn't tell him and sort of had this plan and it winds up with JJ, that to me is a little unfair.
Eastlick, what does Harbaugh expect to learn in 2 games that Michigan will win 72-0? That Hawaii spread might be 60 points.
It is true. Their first 2 opponents are total shit. And so you're not going to see the quarterback really under duress. But this is as close you're going to get to live action, really. And really
2 exhibition games.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think either one of these teams is even Western Michigan. I mean, they're both more in the Akron. Well, maybe. We'll see. I
mean, Michigan's schedule is so bad, Tom Crawford's asking Harbaugh questions at Big Ten Media Days.
That was one of the best moments that was the best moment of Big Ten Media Days.
Love Tom. Chris Eastlick. I gave Hazleton a pass last year, knowing we were young in the secondary. Assuming there is an improvement, do you think fans will change their mind to him this year? He had positive results in every stop prior.
Absolutely. I mean, look, people thought Pat Narduzzi should be fired in 2009, and by 2011 they were trying to keep him and pay him a lot of money. So things can change quickly, and I think if people see once Hazleton, people get used to his system and he has better talent and things start to work, people will change their mind. Absolutely. I don't think people pass judgment entirely on Hazelton. I think there's definitely, I would say, the overall fan base, they're yet to be impressed, but they're willing to be impressed. It's not like they made up their mind completely. It's not like Dave Warner. Dave Warner by the end could put up 75 points a game. People would have been like, it ain't him. That's for sure. He's not the one doing it.
Paul E. Show up next. Graham, if you took 100 jump shots from at least 15 feet out, could you make 55? Try it. Don't be scared. You're not that crazy to say you could do it, right?
Well, 15 feet is a free throw.
All right.
So I guess a jump shot's a little different. But what you're saying is, could I make 55% of my free throws? The answer is yes. But a jump shot, so I probably would not.
Can we heckle you while you shoot them?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
When are we doing that? Board Fest.
Next July.
Yeah. Kevin from Rochester Hills. If MSU's secondary is a problem this year, will Tuck look for a new defensive coordinator?
Getting ahead of things here, Kevin, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he thinks the defense is a problem. Look, he made a move in the defensive staff at defensive line from a guy everybody thought was a good coach because he thought they needed to accentuate the pass rush and get better there. I don't think Mel Tucker is somebody who's going to be slow to make a move he thinks is necessary. That said, I also think when you change an entire coordinator, you change a defense, you change philosophies, that sometimes doesn't help a program. Like if he thinks, again, the secondary being a problem isn't always necessarily the guy running the defense.
I'm really intrigued to see Tucker's first move when something goes bad, if he's going to stay loyal or is, stick to his guns and get rid of people. That's going to be interesting. I mean, I don't want people to get fired by any means, but, it'll be interesting. Mojo Jojo, what kind of season does Darius Snow have, and how important is he to this season's defense?
Yeah, I think he's quite important because you're going to see him in a lot of 3 linebacker sets. I think he – and again, I don't know entirely what he's going to be and how that adjustment's going to do because sometimes when guys move positions – it's kind of their way of saying, well, he wasn't good enough as a safety. We're going to do this here, and it turns out he's not one of their best linebackers. That's not my sense of things. But again, like I said, I'm not reading the tea leaves that well. I think the flexibility he gives them is important.
Mojo Jojo up next. What non-MSU, non-conference alignment or name, image, and likeness story are both of you most interested in?
So non-MSU, non-conference alignment, non-NIL story. Just generally interested in? I mean, like Serena or like the Tigers or what's the in life? I mean, there's some stuff going on at Mar-a-Lago. I don't know. What are we?
Is he talking about another college football team?
Non-MSU, yeah. What story are we most interested in?
Serena Williams. What are you talking about? Why would it be Serena Williams?
I don't know. What story are you most interested in right now that doesn't have to do with NIL, the conference realignment, or MSU?
Oh, I thought he meant outside of the whatever. I don't know. I'm confused.
Oh, yeah.
All of them.
Every story. This guy's a cable news junkie.
We'll fix this in post. Mojo Jojo, will Groovy Donuts come to Spartan Stadium? And can they commit to a spiked apple cider donut?
I would eat it twice. There's no question.
So you'd puke it up?
Oh, not the same donut. I eat two of the donuts. Sorry, that didn't come across great. But yeah, no, a spiked apple cider donut. I think Groovy Donuts should be at Spartan Stadium. I didn't realize how many vendors were going to come in. Not that Andrew and Monica need that extra headache on their schedule and everything like that, but if Groovy Donuts was at Spartan Stadium, that would be outstanding.
Jeff Oswald, given MSU's piss-poor defense last year, what's a realistic expectation this year?
I think they need to be aggressive, sort of sound. They don't have to be great, but it needs to be a defense that, doesn't seem like it has a million holes in it, and then timely. I mean, I think those are the things that they need to be. Now, what that looks like statistically, that can be opponent-driven, and they had some good attributes last year. For a while, they made really timely turnover plays and sacks, even though they weren't necessarily great at either of those things. So they need that to carry over. But a realistic expectation is that they're a middle-of-the-pack defense. Because I think the offense has a chance to be really, really good. And if they got a middle-of-the-pack defense, then they can be contending for things.
I just don't want to constantly have to say, what the fuck? Like, what was that? That's all I ask.
That's the expectation.
Exactly. Jeff Oswald and Jake Hawkins. What gets more mentions tomorrow night? The father-son matchup or Thorne and Reed going to high school together?
Father-son matchup.
Oh.
It's father-son.
Head is exploding right now.
Yeah.
Can't wait to.
Are you watching the game at home?
Yeah.
Yeah. Little Skyman, little...
You know what? I have a fantasy football draft. Jordan, a Michigan fan, scheduled the fucking fantasy football draft Friday night at 7:30.
Wow, Jordan. That is a jerk move.
Right. My team's going to be ass. I'm going to be so stoned.
I do think there are a number of significant others who don't realize sometimes when things get scheduled out that, like, there's a Friday night game. Like, even if you're not into college football, football's coming, you're like, I need to keep things off of Saturdays in the fall. And so you do something weeks out thinking this Friday night sounds good, and then you find out you screwed them over.
He claims that he didn't know. But I said, what if it was during the Colorado State game?
What did he say?
I don't know, nothing.
Yeah.
Told me to fuck off.
Yeah.
Jeff Oswald, did I win the NFL playoff pick'em?
It's possible. It's possible. Stay tuned.
I don't know. Did you? Blink twice if you did. Next one from Jeff. Is my prize for winning last year's Pick'em contest going to arrive before this year's Pick'em contest begins?
So,
and that's a no.
No, we had a choice, and I thought about this hard. It was like we can begin the Pick'em contest next week when there are NFL games, and we have a shot at this.
And Graham's like, nope, we're firing this out today.
We're just going out with it. So you're either not going to get to play in this Pick'em contest, but
I can't believe we got more than one response.
We got a lot.
If I like this show and they did another Pick'em contest, I'd be like, yeah, Jesus Christ. And I have to, ask Graham for a prize. What gets worse than that? Sal, Paradise.
No, we missed one more from Jeff.
Oh, shit. Live Couch in the Rube tailgate this season.
So it is possible, very possible, that we are going to have something at Firekeepers in a couple weeks. And so it hasn't been finalized yet, but we will keep you posted if that sort of thing interests you. That's just off 94 in Battle Creek at Dacey's Sportsbook. It'll be like an NFL Thursday night. Come hang out with us. We'll do Twitter questions. We'll chat. We'll hang.
Gamble.
And it'll be fun. And the sportsbook experience is pretty damn cool. So it's possible we're going to do something like that. And stay tuned.
Can we do it live from a roulette table?
You just swearing all the time.
God damn it. 32 again?
Yeah. Wait a second. Am I splitting these eights? What are we doing here?
I was thinking, though, he's talking about tailgate. The Ohio State game seems like that's going to be a prime spot. Teresa and I were talking today, so we might do something. That might be our one tailgate.
Wait, for the show or for you,
sure.
Teresa? For the show. Okay.
Both. I mean, for us, and then if people want to show up and make a thing about it, I guess we can do that.
Well, and here's the thing I like about the idea of the Ohio State game this year for some sort of Couch in the Roof event. Last year, when we did it with Skyman, and Skyman look, we scheduled this. We planned this way before anybody knew that every
Jason,
other.
can you tell a jail story?
Every other tailgate was going to come in, but it was like, well, it was ESPN, Fox, Barstool, everybody, and it was a mess around campus. And so that was not the best time to have a couch in the room tailgate, and it was also hard to move. Like they had to come. Izzo couldn't get to Spartan Stadium. They had to come pick him up in a neighborhood on a golf cart to get him there. And so, like, in hindsight, but this year, I believe, is A&M Alabama's that day. There's another game, like October 8th. That probably is going to be like the third or fourth game. It's not going to have any of the sets there. So maybe it becomes a good time for us.
Cockburn.
Sal Paradise. How can Tigers fans have hope? No free agent signing or prospect will compensate lack of analytical thinking. The hangovers are hitting a lot harder now than they did at MSU. Any tips? And can we get a Lat-style karaoke vid of Jason singing "Heat is On" to go with his Firekeepers ads?
I would listen to that.
Yeah, I don't drink anymore, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true. Sorry, these were three,
possible.
and I left them in one thing, so that gets confusing. I apologize, Sal. How can the Tigers fans have hope? It's not easy right now. Really, the only way you have hope is who they sign as a GM, and then what happens this offseason. And there needs to be major.
And Riley Green.
Yeah, well, right. There's some young guys you hope come back and all that stuff. But the real thing they need to do is they need to make the Pudge Rodriguez, Meglio Ordonez move where you go, oh, okay, now they're serious. And right now,
hell, what are they doing now?
Right now,
come back.
Right now, they're just getting these. Yeah, those two players. Yeah, but right now you're just getting these guys who are like secondary, sort of washed up. Their own fan base is tired of them. Eduardo Rodriguez and Baez, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's a lot of money.
Harry said. He's like, Rodriguez was pitching really well. I'm like, he just came back from just ghosting the Tigers team, cheating on his wife. Matthew Dyer.
First of all, hangovers. Tips for hangovers. It's as simple as water and Tylenol before bed. It really is that simple. That's I'm not I don't get a lot of hangovers.
He came up with that.
No, but I'm saying like it does work. It's not if I get myself hydrated and take Tylenol, I'm almost always fine. And
cold showers cool you down.
Maybe Skymint,
with that.
Little Skymint instead too might be the way to go.
Yeah. Matthew Dyer next. Listened to Nicole on your show last week, and something she said really stuck with me. Big Ten won't add a school that will lower each school's payout. It seems the driving factor behind that is the TV market. I know they talk about academics, prestige, etc. Why doesn't Georgia Tech get a stronger look? The Atlanta market is huge, heart of the SEC. Georgia is a recruiting hotbed. Academics are Northwestern level. Basing decisions on football history feels like a mistake. What has Nebraska added? What was Clemson before Dabo? What are they after they leave? Florida State hasn't been the same since Bowden.
So, there is a good point here about seeing the long game for somebody. Like, for example, somebody like Stanford, a school like Stanford, it for a long time was just nothing as a football program, and then had a run where all of a sudden they become a little interesting. And if you look at things too in the moment, you have to decide when is a moment actually going to be something that's sustainable. Oregon, for example, was a really middling program until about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, in that range. And so now you sort of trust that it's a thing. And that is something you have to look at. And what else, the thing is, one of the things they're realizing is it's not just TV markets in terms of Atlanta, Detroit, New York. Like, I'm not sure Rutgers gets in anymore because that was about cable television packages. That was the concern. So much more now is about streaming eyeballs and things like that, and who actually watches these teams. That's where Oregon is a much bigger deal than somebody like Georgia Tech is in a bigger market. But there's a lot to consider, and I don't think it's a perfect sort of equation that's figured out right now.
South of Munn next. Great article on Alan Haller. Does he have a solid barrier from the often disastrous Board of Trustees at MSU?
Barrier. Nobody ever has a barrier who works at the school from the Board of Trustees. You just hope there's good communication. And I think the one thing Haller is he's diplomatic enough not to pick fights with him. Like, he understands what he can win and what he can't and where he can't step. And I think he's wise to that. And if you do that right, you got a chance of having a long run.
south of Munn with this one. Solari had a nice piece on snow, but it made me wonder if Scotty Hazelnut's defense is too complex for college with its limited practice schedules.
It's a fair question. There was a guy who coached at Michigan State named Bill Miller, who was a defensive coordinator, late Saban era, early Bobby era-ish. Also coached at Western Michigan for a while when I covered them, by the way. Lived in Kalamazoo.
Peacock.
And he was only there a year, and then he left. And it wound up being, it really set them back because it was a complex defense. They weren't very good the first year under it, but it felt like they were getting it. And there are certain guys with the types of defense they run that, to me, they really have to commit to several years to having what they do ingrained in a program where guys come up in it and are all used to it, because it's hard. It's one thing if just your freshmen and transfers are trying to get a defense, but everybody else is in it. It's another thing when everybody's trying to figure out something that's rather complex. I don't think what he does is overly complex. There are some things that are different about it, but I don't know that his is too complex. We'll see.
HNL next. What exactly happened with the lat situation? I missed it.
Which situation do you refer
Wiggle,
to?
yeah. Wiggle, 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 yeah.
I don't know. I don't know
Do
the
wiggle,
situation.
man.
Yeah.
Everything's good. I think he's going to the game tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a threat on Twitter made by him.
He was going to show his mule on Twitter. He didn't.
He didn't. Right.
End of story. We've moved on, I think. I hope. Cucker Tarlson. Why don't NFL teams have professional marching bands? It'd be so sick.
I don't know. I mean, but
they have cheerleaders.
Yeah, and it would cost money, and it wouldn't be shown on TV. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they think there's bang for their buck in it.
Yeah. It would be sick, though, I think. Next one from Cucker. Biggest issue with soccer is the ties. Nobody likes a tie. It's like kissing your sister. Graham, what is your solution to taking ties out of soccer? Intercontinental ballistic missile to the head.
So this is tricky
Bazooka time.
because ultimately you want something that is reflective of the game, and to me, penalty kicks are not. And I know they have to use them after extra time and cup competitions and things like that. And look, there's pressure in the penalty kicks, and there are things that are, I don't hate them overall, but it's not reflective of who is the better team. Ultimately, you're not going to decide who's the better. What I would do is I would bring in probably penalty kicks, and after like another 10 minutes or something like that, and the team that won the penalty kicks would get an extra point. Both teams would get one for the tie. You wouldn't get the full 3 for the win, but you'd get 2 points if you won the shootout.
Mr. Neurotic Pants. Jason, can you box? Which Lansing sports personality would you fight for charity? Jack Ebling tried his hand years ago. Maybe a flag-draped Hondo who came into the ring with the Lee Greenwood song. Wait, Ebling really boxed for charity?
See, that's a story worth telling. I want to hear that.
Is it for real?
I've never heard that. And Ebling tells a lot of stories, and he's held that one back. So that pisses me off, frankly.
I would say Solari. No, I can't box. Listen, I'm a lover, not a fighter anymore. But how about Solari versus Johnny Spirit?
I'd watch that.
Tell me that wouldn't sell out the fucking Lansing Center.
I would pay massive bucks to watch that.
How much could we raise?
For charity?
Yeah.
Quite a bit. Quite a bit.
Do we get some off the top or no?
Yeah, we'd take some.
Just a little taste.
Of course. Yeah, little taste. That would be yes. That would be a story we're telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company. By the way, if you're looking for a place for brunch this weekend before the games, or frankly a place to watch the games, they have a good TV setup with a big screen TV and TVs at the bar. It's underrated as well, and you're probably also not going to get the crowd you will at a sports bar that's a traditional sports bar. Also a great place for a date night and drink after work. And I've talked about their menu and beer selection. I love their menu. I think it's fantastic. Go to midtownbrewing.net to check it out, and that's at 402 South Washington Avenue in downtown Lansing.
I think Mr. Neurotic Pants tweets are sponsored by SkyMint. His next one, more likely to flip a quality dairy employee the bird, Izzo, D'Antonio, or Merchant? There's no way Susie Merchant does it.
It's D'Antonio.
Yeah.
Because Izzo might want to do it, but he's not going to. D'Antonio might actually do it. Yeah, give me D'Antonio on that.
Don't coach my QD. Mr. Neurotic Pants. Do the Spartans have to provide their own finery for the Spartan Walk? Is there a rack some of us could borrow from? What is that? What is he talking about?
I don't know what that word means. Hold on. I always feel embarrassed when I know what that is. Oh, their best clothes. Okay. It's like they're what they wear. Yeah, no, I think they're provided suits and stuff like that. I would hope. That's a good question. I don't know what they're. I mean, you can't make guys wear suits if they don't own a suit. You know, I think they could get fitted for stuff like that. I do. I think that's part of the package.
Preston Zantello next. Should we be worried about By Job's visit to Alabama?
Look, there's going to be a lot of this. A lot of guys still being recruited, and I think that's the game Michigan State's going to be in. There are going to be guys on MSU's campus that are committed elsewhere. And the hard thing is going to be not getting, overly excited about any individual pledge in the middle of the summer when you know you've got 6 months until they sign. I think the best thing you can do is just sort of check out of recruiting as best you can during the season and check back in December and trust that you have a staff right now that understands the game.
Preston with this one. I just moved to Kalamazoo for college. Am I Graham's favorite listener?
It moves you up there. There's no question. Which I would wonder.
All you have to do is kiss Graham's ass, and he's a fan for life.
Fair enough. K College or Western would be my question, Preston. But either way, it's and well done in terms of picking a spot. It's a great school. It's a great town to spend 4 years.
Molon Lobby Spartan Couch. What's going on in KZoo? Public urination is now acceptable?
So I don't know what this story is, and I didn't have time to look it up before we get on this. So hold on. Let's give me some Hoff.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me.
Okay, so I'm looking at these headlines. City of Kalamazoo, public urination is still illegal. Kalamazoo decriminalizes public urination, defecation, despite all sort of shit going on. I don't know what's going on.
Defecation?
Yeah,
so you can just drop a log like anywhere?
No, this doesn't seem right. But no, this is not going to do well for Kalamazoo's reputation.
I think urination, like to a degree, should be legal though. Like if you're doing it, if it's an emergency and you're behind a building out of the way of everyone.
We've all peed between dumpsters before somewhere in an alley.
I've peed on everything. Not everything, but you know what I mean. Like outside, I've peed on everything.
Like what's the place where you went where you, in hindsight, were like, ooh, that was not great.
We were coming back from a NASCAR race, and I had to pee so bad, and there's only 2 lanes coming out of MIS, so I thought I could just get out, go like into the woods a little bit on the side of the road and pee. Well, I did that, and then I turned around, and then traffic started moving, and they were like 5 miles because you can't just stop. So they kept going, so I had to like run like Forrest Gump, and all these people were like cheering me on like I was an idiot. So I don't know. I was like, man, maybe I should have just peed my pants.
Another story we're telling, presented by Midtown Brewing Company.
Wasn't that great? Molon Lobby Spartan, can I get some Graham Stout on student debt forgiveness and why it's fair for me to pay some kid's degree?
Well, first of all, you're not paying anything. It's already it's debt the government has taken on, and they're choosing to forgive it or not. And frankly, a lot of these loans are predatory, and the interest rates are absurd considering where they used to be. And this idea that middle America isn't also included in middle class people who went to college, have college degrees, and do middle class jobs and are struggling with debt. Like there are lots of programs that help people out, and I don't see any problem with this being one of them.
Here's a piece of paper. Thanks for the $105,000.
The flip side of that is I think there might be better ways to do it. But, I also, there's the Graham Stout for you.
Molon Lobby Spartan. Will we see any of the backup quarterbacks play against Western?
I'll say yes. I'll say you'll see one late drive with Noah Kim.
All right, JD next. Who wins MSU's starting kicker job?
See, this one is close to the vest. I don't know. You want to say, well, they bring in a transfer from Auburn, a guy who's hit some big field goals. There you go. That's got to be the guy. But you look at last year, and they bring in a quarterback from Temple, and people think that's their quarterback, and they truly went with the guy who won out the job. So whatever's happened in practice, I trust that they'll go with that guy. But it does seem like if all things are equal, you're probably going to go with the guy you just brought in and hit some big kicks.
JD next with this one. Who scores the first TD tomorrow night?
What are we going? I'll go. Let's play a bet on this. Who you think it's?
I said Jaden Reed.
Keon Coleman. There's first bet. All right, let's take a really quick break. When we come back, more of your Groovy Donut Twitter questions. Couch in the Roof, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and our friends at Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app.
Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Download the app at firekeeperscasino.com. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Sky Mint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Sky Mint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Sky Mint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Sky Mint Cannabis. You'll love this place. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. Trust matters, especially when it's your money. Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management work hard to build a relationship of trust by providing thoughtful, objective guidance and placing your interests first. Invest with knowledgeable financial advisors who are on your side. Call today and tell them you're a friend of the show for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation. 248-626-2000 and ask for Mark or Jay. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Find Couch and the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch and the Rube, presented by Skyman Premium Cannabis and Firekeepers and Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Download the app today. Play the games along with us this weekend, including the Michigan State game, which is Spartans are minus 21 right now against Western Michigan. That line has moved a little bit in Western Michigan's favor, so there's a little more value on MSU. All right, back to your Groovy Donut Twitter questions.
JD with this one. Graham, can you come get your boy Solari? And from Carl, will you be taking arms in Chris Solari's Twitter war with the chief of propaganda?
Yeah, no, Chris is on his own when any Twitter fights he gets into, just as I'm usually on my own in any
happened?
fights. He just, I don't know, he got annoyed with somebody on Twitter and then was, it's just a fight you're not going to win, and I don't know exactly the history there, so I don't want to.
He threatened to punch someone in the forehead?
He did not. He just, you know, it's never really becoming to get in fights with fans, and even if it's even if it's some they did something to annoy you.
I don't know.
I've done it.
I'm intrigued.
I've done it occasionally, and it's never worked out for me. So,
Fire Al next. Was this the best Hot Lat summer to date, despite all of the setbacks? Oop, shit. Hold on.
This is what I see. Everybody stops and they're staring at me. I got passion in my pants.
That's what got him in trouble.
I nearly replied to something he said the other day where I forget exactly what it was, but it was about seeking love and all this stuff. And I was like, you're just not going to find it on Twitter, man. Like, everything you're seeking.
That's not true, Chad. Don't listen to him.
Just get off Twitter.
Your future wife's on Twitter. Dylan Owens. How many recruits does MSU lose with a 2-2 start?
It'll be interesting as they and I don't know it's specifically obviously if you lose to Minnesota and Washington, if people are jumping off, but it will be interesting to see how the bigger the recruits they are after, their reactions to things that happen on the field, especially as MSU is sort of in a new money, new momentum situation, and are there people who don't trust it? And I've got to think, like, for the most part, kids who are, like, you look at, there have been years where Michigan State, I don't think under D'Antonio lost more than during that 3-9 year, didn't lose anybody who was committed. During the 2-5 year, things held up pretty good for Mel Tucker. Now, it was a different time, different caliber player. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know that 2-2 really has an effect, but if you get to 5-7 and people feel like you're not on the upswing, sure. That's why you got to keep winning, and that's the pressure of it.
Call me Al next with this one. Which MSU running back ends the season with the most yards? No Graham Stout zone.
Jalen Berger, 780.
You heard it. Next from Call Me Al. How has Hauser looked in practice? Any chance he throws a pass in a game this season?
There's always a chance because they only have 3 guys playing quarterback now, and the other big thing is you can play in up to 4 games and still redshirt. So that's I love that rule for this reason. If you needed a guy, I mean, in the old days, you couldn't move Hamp Fay to safety, even if you knew Hauser was going to overtake him, because you're not going to blow that year on Hauser. But you need a third quarterback who's, now you can play him up to 4 games and he doesn't lose his year. I think there's a really good chance he gets in at some point. Throw a pass. I mean, if you're going to play him, why not? I mean, that's the Akron game is going to get ugly, I think, and so it could happen that early.
Call me Al with this one. Did Haller suggest the sound system was upgraded to accommodate live game day vocals from Chad Latz? If not, why?
Ain't afraid to show it, show it, show it, show it. I'm sexy and I know it.
Mike Scott, if you're still listening, I recommend Skymint. It can help you through this.
It's your burner. You're talking to yourself.
No, I know there were a lot of complaints. What's funny is the press box windows are so thick at Spartan Stadium that the sound system issues were not something that we were all aware of on like a nightly basis, but would hear it from people. Apparently, it was pretty bad last year, and so it had to be done, and they knew it had to be done.
James Hard next. Jason, you're over under how many listeners actually bet Premier League football? I would set it at 5.5. I think I would bet though. Man, that's a good number because I just don't know how many bet. I know that there's a lot of people that like Graham's soccer shit. I think I would take the over.
Yeah, I would set it at like 120 and a half.
All right. Let's not get crazy.
And even that, though, if that's all that people liked, it is not worth it. Like, that's a small percentage of our listeners. Still probably shouldn't be doing it.
I guess I should have said, yeah, hell yeah, it's over 5.5. It's not good. James Harden. Over under Thorne touchdown passes, I would go with 31.5.
Yeah, that would be another school record for him. But he has the school record in touchdown passes, right? It was 27. So, I think he's got a shot at it just because the type of offense he's running, you're not as reliant on I think you're going to be more reliant on the passing game. And, you're talking about averaging almost 3 a game. And I think that's feasible. What also helps, though, you need to have a game somewhere where you throw 4 or 5, something like that, and a couple of those, and it really helps you get there. I think he's got a shot to do it.
James with this one. Over under Keon Coleman touchdowns this season, I would set it at 7.5. I
would go under.
That seems heavy.
That's a lot. No, it's not that he won't be some touchdown machine and have a great year, but I think I would set it at like 4.5 and probably take the over, but barely.
Couch on fire. Just rewatched the 99 Michigan State game. Nick Saban and Tom Brady. Could anyone have imagined their futures at that point?
It's a good point. You think about that game at that point.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's a great point. You 2 legends in a game that.
Yeah, see number 10 down there? Yeah, he's going to win 7 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Play till he's 55.
And this guy who can barely get Michigan State to more than 7 wins, he's going to be the greatest college football coach of all time.
Yeah, Peter, I said it. All time.
Yeah, maybe Peter McPherson shouldn't run him out of town.
Couch on fire. I like MSU 38-10 Friday. Should I bet the under at 54.5? I would.
But you like 38-17, which is 55.
Well, then I like 16. Whatever gets under 54.
So you like the under? Is what you're saying?
For this question, I do.
Okay. I'm sorry for putting math and exposing your.
It's quite okay. I think people know. I don't need to be exposed. Couch on fire. Who do you predict as the unsung breakout player?
So somebody who just sort of unexpectedly has a great year.
Wouldn't that be Keon Coleman, though? I know that he's like touted himself as having a great year, but I think that would be
it. Absolutely could be him. You know, another guy. It could be one of the tight ends like Tyler Hunt or something that's been a good player, but nobody has seen. It could be somebody defensively, but Coleman is the type of guy who fits that. The other guy who's been good but has never had as big a role as he might this year is Trey Mosley, and Trey Mosley could be that guy.
Bo McJunkins next. Is it me or does the Phil Friend hello greeting on Spartan Speak that follows a hard out of music sound like a nervous HOA president greeting the new people in the neighborhood that don't cut their lawn with a casserole, hoping they start to follow the neighborhood rules?
You're onto something here. I give Phil a lot of shit, and the difference between Phil's the Spartan Speak and this one is that in Spartan Speak we actually do fix things in post. Like there's a lot of stuff that's like, hey, and often it's like Solari's kids, something happens or one of us burps or whatever.
Solari going after fans.
Something happens, and it's just like, cut that. That's not going to go well for us. Plus, my boss actually occasionally listens to that one. She doesn't listen to this one, which is helpful.
No, she should.
No, she should not.
Bo McJunkins. Speaking of Spartan Speak, Solari, holy shit. Can we take it easy on the McDonald's slander? If Johnny Spirit offered this guy a Big Mac, World War III might start. And from Joel Green, I know I'm late, but the important question is, who shit in Solari's coffee yesterday? Holy smokes. What an hour of Spartan Speak that was. How do you honestly get to the curmudgeon level? Has a sports writer ever hated his topic and his profession more? Poor Phil.
This is, I have to
listen.
I was going to say, this is great promotion for Spartan Speak. People are going to go back and.
Solari hates Mickey D's.
What happened was early on, Phil just tried to be light and have banter as we get into the show. Started talking about
Solari's like no banter.
Xavier Henderson's NIL deal with McDonald's, and so Phil asked, "What would be your McDonald's sandwich if you had an NIL deal, or what would be your meal of choice?" And so it seemed like an innocuous question that would be fun. And Solari was not happy. He was like, "Well, they sponsored the damn show, and I don't really like." It was pretty. Solari was not in a great mood, and but he's got a lot going on sometimes, and has to balance a lot of things. If I had
three kids
under 8 years old, 2 under 5,
this podcast would sound different.
Yeah, it would be.
Let's get to the next fucking Twitter question, Graham. Bo McJunkins, who is worse, 27 NCAA tourney brackets guy or 72 fantasy football teams guy?
They're both pretty bad.
Like fantasy, what about fantasy mock draft guy who tells you that he's done 42 or something? 72. I do 2, and that's too much.
I don't even do any. I got invited to one this year. I either got kicked out of one or it stopped happening, but I'm just pretending it stopped happening. I think they didn't invite me back because
what did you do that would get you?
I'm just that guy who after week
you
8,
are that guy, but yeah, come on.
But after week 8, I stopped updating my team regularly.
And it's you got banned then.
Yeah, so it's not.
Why are you that guy?
I don't mean to be that guy. It happens
Is it for money?
No, here's what. Yeah, the league that has money in it. What happens is this: I forget 1 week, and then I lose, and I'm out of things. Then I'm pissed, and I'm competitive, and I'm
you don't deserve to play fantasy football,
right? I'm not angry, but so when somebody asked me this year, I just.
Dude,
don't respond.
You're worse than 27 NCAA tourney bracket and 72 fantasy
football
teams.
They're worse.
Yeah, no. Fantasy football guy that because he loses after week 4 or whatever, he's like 0-4 and stops putting a lineup in his ass.
No, I don't.
It's worse than both of these
guys. I try
to
compete, but I just forget occasionally. Now, but 72 fantasy football teams guy,
no,
he drops. He stops really paying attention all but about 7 of them as they get competitive. So there are a lot of leagues that he's fucking over.
Yeah, but you're in one league.
It's true.
Right. You're worse. Just own it. It's fine. Sports Guy 1919. Why are tailgate lots opening at 3 p.m. for a 7 p.m. game? SEC schools could never.
I thought it was 2 o'clock. Maybe it is 3. They moved it up. Seems early enough for me. I thought it was early. I thought it was an hour earlier than that, but I could be wrong. I thought it was.
Just get there now. Gives a shit.
Who's going to stop you? Well, and they do have the one thing that's different about this game is there are actually like people working at MSU on a Friday. So like some of the parking areas that are used are
Oh shit! Friday night before Labor Day, ain't nobody working.
Not a lot. But
Bullshit. They're out of there by 10 o'clock, 10 a.m.
Just trying to give a reason.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I went all Solari on you. Al, with this, which Michigan directional MAC team will have the best season?
I think both Central and Western could be good. I don't know much about Eastern, so I'm just spitballing here. I'll say Central's going to have the best team.
Al, with this one, which Michigan quarterback is a better matchup for MSU's defense?
Well, what Michigan State wants to face is the guy who's going to make mistakes. And I don't know who that is yet. And maybe that if that's McCarthy, then even if he's got the bigger arm, that's who you want to face. You want to face the guy who's going to make the big mistake. And so I don't know who that is. And last year, that's why McNamara was the better choice.
Al, which position group will be the surprise group for MSU this year?
I think corner, they're going to be decent. I do. I think they'll be deeper there. They're stronger in terms of with guys like Amir Speed. There's better competition there. I think that's not going to be a trouble spot. I don't know if they'll be great, but I don't think it'll be a trouble spot.
Dark Mantonio, Jason, what's up with Graham doing an interview with your favorite bud, Carlos? Say what?
I went on with Los and Sean
the
other day, yesterday.
How'd that? Oh man, I got 2 podcasts to listen to.
So yeah, I mean it's
Spartan Speak and that abortion.
Again, it's a company thing. So
right.
But
did you call him out?
No, we just were.
That could have been but seriously, how many downloads would have got? Like 1.1 million. If you would have called out Los on his own pod, but it's not live. They could edit and post.
The funny thing is, right after that, both of us followed each other on Twitter. It was very
so you're buds. You really are buds now.
I didn't.
Will he come on the show?
Do you want to have Los on sometime?
Yeah, why not? I'll ask him why.
I think he could get really.
I'll just ask him what it's like to just sell your soul to the devil.
Right. See, that's why we're not going to do that. But
what does it feel like to steal money from a newspaper?
There you go. Yeah. No, we're not going to.
No. Dark Mantonio, why do we always bring up 10 of 14 MSU wins over Michigan since we never bring up Michigan's 70 of 100 or so before that? Where's the cutoff? MSU has been pretty vocal about Michigan living in the past. Well, 15 years ago in college is the past. Yes, Tuck is 2-0, but they are 3-3 and 2-2 recently.
Well, I mean, yes, but 70 of 100, let's keep in mind here, that is often brought up, actually. I see it by Michigan fans all the time. But it also is a lot of those were before Michigan State was in the Big Ten, which Michigan did not want them to be in the Big Ten, which is part of the angst and the dislike between them. And most of those for a long period of time, when you're talking pre-1950, were only in Ann Arbor. But there's no question, the 30 of 38 that Michigan won, that's legit. I mean, they were a dominant program, and they dominated that rivalry for most of 4 decades, and that's absolutely legit. The question is, how do people feel about it now? And what 10 of 14 does is it speaks to the present-day mindset. And one of the things, I asked Tom Izzo this years ago because he had flipped that rivalry and the way it was perceived, and I asked him how long it took, and he said a decade. And I said, how long will it take in football? And this was like peak D'Antonio years, and he said, I think 15 years. So now we're at 15 years since that original 2008 win. And what he meant by that is when the mindset is of the opponent, of the team that's dominated that rivalry, is of a level of, even if they don't act like they respect you, they understand in a certain way you're their equal. And we'll see if they're there. And I think if you talk to most reasonable Michigan fans, which I think Dark Mantonio is one, that they would say that Michigan State is certainly, if not in their heads, under their skin, and a team that they view as they take seriously. And I don't know. So
you and Los have worked together, but you never followed each other on Twitter. So then how did that happen? He just followed you, and you guys realized you didn't follow each other? I mean, that's kind of...
No, after we did the show, I wanted to see if it had been... I didn't know how quickly they were going to put it out.
And you forgot you didn't follow him?
And so I followed him, yeah.
But you forgot you didn't follow him, though?
Yeah.
Okay. Dark Mantonio, What says more about a team and should be looked at more impressively by the College Football Playoff Committee? A team that the likes of MSU losing by 2 at a team like Bama, or a team like MSU winning at home by 13 over a team like North Carolina?
It's losing by 2 at Bama, and that should always be the way it is. First of all, if you lose by 2 on the road, it's not really a loss. Vegas will tell you that. And it should be treated as such. If we're going to have a selection committee, now if it's a championship game, if it's a game where the winner goes on to something, and be it in the conference or whatever, then all that matters is you win or lose. But we're talking about picking team. If you're in a true road game and you lose by 2, I mean,
yeah, but that's Alabama.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Hammered Michigan State, so
right. But I'm saying that would not be a bad deal. I think that'll be one of the cool things about the 12-team playoff, or whatever we wind up with here shortly, is that sort of win will be treated as, well, that wasn't really, or loss will be treated, that wasn't really a loss. That was an impressive showing.
Last one from Dark Mantonio. Life is different as an Ohio State coach, so if Ohio State is 11-0, then loses to Michigan, resulting in them not winning the Big Ten and not going to the college football playoff, will Day get fired?
No. I think they understand what they have in him. I think they've got a good athletic director, and there's just nothing guaranteed. Landing on Urban Meyer was a change to how Ohio State is. Alabama landing Nick Saban changed the course of things for them. I think places understand it's not a guarantee, and I think they like Day. Now, I don't know if they'd put up at Ohio State with what Harbaugh's record has been. If it was reversed, I don't think they would, but certainly not, losing to Michigan this year. Day is not getting fired. I don't think Day's getting fired regardless. They go 6-6. Day's not getting fired. There'd have to be a reason that happened, but getting fired this year, I mean, I think people understand he's a good coach.
Tyrone Couch next. Did you guys ever have a long-term crush as a kid? Shantoya excluded. Mine was Christy Hamilton. Never try to look up your crushes when you are old. Also, how many times do we hear announcers mention Michigan tomorrow? My over-under is 4.5. I wasted like 5 birthday wishes on her. Wait, did you put something in the middle of that?
I don't know. I know. I think that was all one. So let me ask you this: did you have a long time childhood crush, like long term, multiple years?
Tiffany Amber Thiessen for sure.
I'm talking about like in real life,
like a person that
went to school or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Erica Jennings. I had a crush on her. I made her those Smurf things that you put in the oven when I was in kindergarten, and I took them to her. And I remember she threw them. Like the kids all knew I got them for her because I put it on her desk because my Aunt Lucille helped me make them, and because I had a crush on her. And when I got there, it's the only thing I remember from kindergarten, I think. And then so all the kids are huddled around and they're like, "Erica, you got something on your desk?" And she just picked it up and chucked it over her shoulder. So
that is a story we're telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue. Again, looking for a place for brunch. Their brunch menu is outstanding. Mimosa flights. And if you're just going to have a beer there, I love their American Stout. My answer to this question would be this. I had a couple. Christiane Minardi, I think it was the name in kindergarten. I remember playing.
3 names? Is she like a child actor or something?
Yeah, something like that. I remember playing Chase, and I was always trying to hug her. You know what I mean? Always catch her when I was.
Chase.
But there was another.
More like Weinstein.
There was a girl. There was a girl in elementary school whose whole family had either gone to Iowa or was from Iowa, and I always thought you met your spouse in college. So, and she always talked about the Hawkeyes. So when I was in 4th or 5th grade, I was like, well, that's it. I'm going to college in Iowa. That's it. That's how I'll make this happen. I had it, sort of planned out. Then I went to middle school and, life changed.
Tyrone Couch, can someone deliver some Sky Mint cannabis to the South? My wife is teaching now and gets why I'm ready for bed at 4 p.m.
Yes. Actually, I'm not going to take it across state lines, but I wish you had it down there. And anytime you're up here, I will buy you some Sky Mint cannabis. And anybody who wants Sky Mint cannabis, go to skymint.com for location information. They're all over Michigan. And the first time you go, Couch and Rue 20 for 20% off.
Remember, every once in a while, you just throw it to me, you'd be like, Jason, tell us about Sky Mint cannabis. And I'd be like, it's a clean environment.
You were really good sometimes and sometimes not.
I was so hit or miss. Tyrone Couch, number 1, What play would you like to see this year as the flea flicker of last year? I'm thinking we will see the hook and ladder 5 times.
Hook and ladder is a fun football play. Risky, but I love it.
Statue of Liberty.
Fumblerooski. Yeah. Something.
Kicking old school. Boy, but if those plays don't work, holy hell.
The hook and ladder can go really wrong, too. But it is awesome. Just the way, the hook and ladder is fun to watch.
Hans Jurgen next. I suggested earlier this week for Lats and Johnny Spirit share an apartment for a BTN reality show. What do you think? I think that's genius.
I don't know.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think...
Dude, Lats and Johnny Spirit in an apartment, that is better than any Big Ten Network programming they have.
Here's what makes it better.
Check it out.
You throw Chris Solari in.
Oh, no way. There'd be a murder.
Wiggle, yeah. Wiggle, yeah.
Hans, in European soccer, there are no playoffs within your own league. I get the value of trying to finish in first or avoiding regulation.
Relegation.
Well, it says regulation on here.
Yeah, right. Good point.
So you type these, right?
Yeah. Well, no, copy and edit them. I didn't edit this well.
But doesn't the season become boring at the end for the average teams? They can't finish in first, and they can't be regulated.
Hans, it is not regulated, but I like it. Regulators is that's more of a regulated is more of an American term for this. Yeah, it does. Mid-table teams, there's not a whole lot there. Now, what there is there are different European competitions. If you finish in the top 4, you play in the Champions League, and especially if you're in the Premier League, then the 5th and 6th teams are often in the Europa League. So there are different things you're still sort of playing for. Usually to a certain point in the table. So usually there are only about 5 or 6 teams that are playing for absolutely nothing for the last couple of months. But you are not wrong. That is one of the downsides of it.
Next one from Hans. Is it fair to ask your boss to be less caustic and more polite? Or should you be grateful you're getting a paycheck and not living in a cardboard box?
No, fuck that, Hans. They're lucky to have you.
Yeah, but it's good not to live in a box, though.
Well, that too.
I mean.
Yeah. Way to Graham.
It can go either way.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to know your boss and how talented you actually are before you make that play.
Hans, do you think the over-unders are a sucker bet?
They are on tennis sets. I'm done betting tennis.
It's all a sucker bet.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. The Hawk up next. How much more difficult is life going to get for the Pistons with the Cavaliers trading for Donovan Mitchell?
I mean, the Cavs have got a nice roster. They're going to be good. But I'm more worried about the Pistons just being the Pistons. Like, once the Pistons get good, then you worry about who's in the way. Like, right now, you just worry about getting good.
Shout out to the Utah Jazz. That's how you do a rebuild.
Yeah.
Right there.
No
they have
shit.
90 picks from the Cavs for the next 100 years. It's crazy.
And what they also recognized, and shout out to Danny Ainge for this, is that they weren't going to win a title with the crew they had, so might as well tear it down. You can keep being a second-round playoff team or first-round playoff team until the end of time. Yeah, I do too.
They saw that it wasn't working. They shipped everyone out. Hawk with this one. How much of a factor and key does production from the tight ends have to be in MSU's offense?
I don't know about have to be, but I think they've got good talent there, and I think it opened some things up that were not there a year ago. I think Tyler Hunt's better from everything I hear. If Malik Carr is healthy and ready to go, I think he could have a big year. Daniel Barker gives them sort of a prototypical guy. I think their ability to play 2 tight ends and use those guys in different creative ways gives Jay Johnson some options.
Next one from the Hawk. It's another thing. What does that say? Is or it?
It says is, but I don't know. Isn't. Yeah.
Whatever. Another thing to look for tomorrow night is how the corners play since Mel Tucker had started coaching them himself.
Sure. I mean, I think that's. I mean, I don't know how much that's just related to what Tucker's doing. Although it was interesting, one practice that was open partly to the media that I was at was a day that, it was like, if I was a corner, I'd be like, God, why does the head coach us? Like, he was being really, really tough on them. And not that other coaches aren't tough on their guys, but you think about that, like you're in the position group where the head coach is always seeing everything you do. You pick your nose, you don't want anybody to catch you, and always the head coach is watching.
You can pick your nose, just don't eat it.
Right.
You don't want people to catch that.
That's the bad. When he saw that in elementary school, that was the kid who never got,
The Smales kid eats it, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Jake Hawkins, do you think concerts at Spartan Stadium could be a music festival type of setting spread out over a week or weekend like Common Ground or Faster Horses? Did you go to the last concert at Spartan Stadium, U2, in 2011 or 2012?
I did not. I was living in Kalamazoo at the time, I believe, when I was here. You didn't go to that either, did you?
No.
But no, there's lots of things you can do. And I think there's a debate about whether, look, I think all things equal, if it's just a football stadium and you can afford it, the turf is awesome. The real grass turf. But the things you can do with a stadium like that, if you have artificial turf, are just more. So you have to decide what you want and whether the revenue is worth it, whether the experiences of other things are worth it. And I don't know. What do you feel?
As far as the music festival, I don't know. I just don't like those music festivals. I mean, you have to get good enough bands because that's what happened to Common Ground. Really, no one pays attention to it anymore because they can't get the bands there anymore.
And if you're talking a stadium, I think you just get big acts once in a while.
Yeah.
You have 2 or 3 a year of really big acts.
But, I mean, if people do enjoy going to Faster Horses, I mean, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't go to it. But, I mean, if you can pull one of those weekends off, but that's a hell of a lot to go through for your stadium, I guess.
Would you care if it's grass or turf? Are you somebody
No.
who cares? No, yeah.
What, no Upper Deck Jerk guy?
No, he's not in. He's not.
Before the fucking game, the guy doesn't write in?
Right. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Damn it. Last one. From the Hawk. What kind of restaurant do you think will be in Spartan Stadium? Something similar to what MSU Hall of Fame Cafe was.
Yeah, I don't know what will go there, and I don't know when and if it'll happen. I know it is a cool, interesting idea. It would be something that would be open all the time. You'd probably
Front 43.
Front 43 would be ideal. An offshoot, a second Front 43 in Caskin Company.
Am I right?
Oh yeah, well played, sir. I should have walked right into that. I don't know how I missed it.
It's been a long show.
Yeah. We appreciate all of you and your Groovy Donut Twitter questions. Outstanding stuff as always. We will be back on Sunday night with a show reacting to a game, which is freaking awesome.
What a preview.
We are excited.
Stay tuned.
We'll do the hot takes. We appreciate Groovy Donuts. Go to groovydonuts.com. Order your tailgate donuts today or stop by either location on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamson. Thank you to Skymint. Go to skymint.com. Find a location nearest you. Let Skymint help you with your weekend. And we appreciate Firekeepers. And download the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app today. Play the games along with us. Same for Midtown Brewing Company. Great spot for brunch. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.